Yes, sir. Doopy doppy doopy dobby dee die. Doopy doppy doopy dobby dee die. Doopy doopy dobby doopy da. Entertain her. I will entertain you. I will do my best. Hello, chat. Welcome. It is yet another day. It is August 22nd at 1:18 p.m. Those who were not aware, I have already done a stream earlier today. That stream was basically a live VOD breakdown recording of some coaching material for League of Legends. Not really interesting for most people, but I have another 2-3 of these that I have to do for several of the games, one of which will be the First Descendant. I'll probably do that after the versus chat. Why is there so much phlegm in my throat? Give everybody some time to settle in and we'll be right there. Sorry that you don't talk often. My main account seems to have been hidden. Interesting question. We're going to press on that in a second. Bot game for this week's versus chats. It's okay. It's all good. You can be entertained at a distance. Now, let's get on to your subject, Cookie. I don't think I recognize your name. Are you already inside the Discord? Mostly through recording. I see. Same as I ever was. Because I have my own account, I'm going to have to record and or stream and muscle through on the weekends. Which is what's going to start getting done on some of these H3s versus chats. There hasn't really been a lot of good topics that I wanted to get into for the purposes of a springboard. So, in the liaison case where that happens, I instead have plenty of games I'm supposed to be playing that I need to work through. So, for example, Wukong released, but on top of not having the money for it, I don't feel that it's right for me to try and dig into a new one, when there's technically 2 games that I still need to finish. And one of them is started for my YouTube channel, so I need to finish my quadrilogy. Because boy almighty is that a lot of game. And then, after that, somehow find a way to do Ni no Kuni. before I feel like I have the right to get to play a new game on camera that is not a free-to-play game. I asked you a question, Cookie. Are you already inside of the Carl and Company Discord? I need to make sure that I know what account was muted for whatever reason. So, we already know the reason why yours was hidden and muted. Now, don't we? Don't we, Spider? Go ahead, tell all the class what it was. So, hold your horses before you do that. 1 second over. For those who have no idea or context and have no idea what's being discussed, never mind, she already pulled the trigger. So, for anybody else who didn't have any idea of what needed to be discussed, Spider Monkey Man decided, for some reason, to entertain the intrusive thought to say the hard R multiple times. I know. I saw it. I had a feeling the second I tried. It's fine. Had the invasive thought and feeling to decide and to desire that he was going to go into the voice call, entertain the intrusive thought of saying the hard R multiple times while my headset was off to hear my mother from the other room. And you say, I was kicked because I was admittedly being a moron. That's not why we banned you. It's part of why we banned you, but that's not why we banned you. The first reason why we banned you was because you didn't take accountability for your actions, because the second thing you did after you did that was, and I quote, I address it because horror tells me. It's where horror made her bones to become head mod, you see. She caught you because I couldn't hear you because my headset was off. And then I roll back the VOD and I hear it myself. And I addressed you. And I said, so is there something you want to tell me? Can you explain to me why you did this? And what were your words? Your words were, I think I better go. So, instead of taking accountability for your action, you thought you could run away from the situation. And that's why you were banned. And that's why she sought to do that just now, to get banned. You're not getting unbanned. I have very, very little patience nowadays for shit like this. Even then, I had little amount of patience, but I've been way too nice and I've been way too lenient. This is twice now that this has happened. Twice people have tried to either come here on an alternate account to try and contest and say, oh man, it's really weird, and my account was suspended. I can't believe, and I don't understand why my account was hidden. That's crazy. And instead of being honest about it, decided to say, bro, that's so crazy, and then drag their feet before being discovered. The other one to do it was Harvey. That's wild. Perhaps you might have learned from your actions, because now you're coming here to say, regrettably, I was acting like an idiot. But the question I would ask you is 3 things. 1, why would you risk my fucking channel like that? For fun. Second, why was it something that was in your head that you thought was a thing to say and do? And then 3, why did you run away from accountability? So no, you will not be getting unbanned. We do cross-platform bans here, Spider Monkey Man, and you've known this. You knew it before it happened. Nigga, that's crazy. Nigga, that's crazy. That's crazy. Maybe you'll learn from this. Sorry, not sorry. Maybe you'll learn from this. I have a wife to please and a mouth to feed. We don't have time for it. I don't have time for it. It's all good. It's all good just to grow. Things happen. Things happen. All a part of the lesson of having to grow. I've tried to be nice. Now it's time to be mean. Da-da-da. Anyways. News. Topics. Shits and more. More things for me to have to work on later on a date. Later at a later date. And just because I'm curious, I need to double check what the time... God damn, I'm burpy. My pills are making me burpy. I need to check what the time lock on is for Once Human right now, because it should be releasing within the next 3 days. So I might have to push up the time schedule on that video. Just gonna double check it right now. Well, my pills giving me heartburn. How's everybody doing? You feeling good? You feeling sexy? I'm feeling sexy. I'm feeling good. I technically had 2 days off. I gave myself 2 days off. New update. My damn, why does it take so long to fucking load? There we go. New shop items. Building contests, wilderness races. It does not appear that it is over. No. You know. Have to go physically check the fucking thing. They need a button for this in Once Human. Huh? One second, wait, 1 second. Screen. Yeah, that was YouTube. I didn't do anything. I know that the top chat is a function where all of the message gets potentially fucking filtered for spam, but I didn't do that. That was YouTube directly.
Why YouTube? Why you strangling my members of my audience? That's bullshit. That's bullshit. She ain't doing nothing. She ain't doing nothing.
No, where's... Why the fuck is my camera turn speed so low? That still doesn't feel right. What the fuck? Anyways. How many days? A new dawn ends in 23 days and 20... That feels like they extended that. Okay, available in 2 days, 2 hours, and 59 seconds. Server opens on 8/25. 3 days. 3 days until that happens. So I might have to push that video up a little bit sooner than others. Regardless. Seems good, seems different. I have to remember what I'm planning to do for this one's build. Looks like I'm gonna have to use the explosive crossbow, since that's the one that counters coherence for that. Anyways, not to get distracted. Just writing some things down for later that I need for Once Human. That. Okay. Anyways, content, news. Let us dive right in and start, shall we? First on the docket. It's the shot heard around the fucking gaming world, chat. And it's so good. It's so good. Here to tell us about it. Vara Dark of Dark Titan Media. And most of these news stories, as before we jump into, we got distracted. We were having too much fun doing administrative shit. We are humbly supported by the viewers and watch times of viewers, haters, and banned people like you. Thank you. If you want to be able to give support and help to the channel, please consider giving a wonderful donation from YouTube, Twitch, Ko-fi, and subscribestar.com/singleplayercarl. Consider Consider subscribing to the page. Consider joining the channel. Consider becoming a YouTube member. Put on your hood. Join the Carlists. And consider becoming a member of the United Negro Carl Foundation. Because here at the UNCF, we believe that a Carl is a horrible thing to waste. Don't let me go to waste. Help me do my job by having fun by doing my job. While you get to have fun watching me do my job, do your job of having fun with me. Let's all join together and go ahead and dan because we are capable of understanding that we should not be screaming the hard R at the top of our lungs, putting somebody's channel at risk. Anyways, dive right in. Wukong released over the weekend. Many people have things to say about it. And of those things that they have to say about it, there's been some interesting takes from interesting perspectives and people. All the regular degular that one could expect, and more, are definitely up in arms about this. And, as expected, not like it was a surprise, many of those that were responsible for the news story going to shit have ran for the fucking hills. Same as it ever was. Tell him 411.
Black Myth Wukong has completely blown up in the faces of the activists online who have complained about it for years at this point, and the IGN reporter who smeared this game's developers says she's no longer on Twitter and has locked her account after the game has gone absolutely viral. I have a few different things to show off, but before I get into the topic, if you enjoy the content I create, check out the links in the description, join the community in my live streams, and consider supporting through Patreon or YouTube memberships. Now, Black Myth Wukong has already done absolutely amazing for game science. It is smacked.
Yes, sir. In fact, do I have that link up? I have a link for it up. Oh no, that's right. I took a picture of the screen chart. That's what I did. Go ahead and just get that link. Hello, Nick. Oh, wrong SKU. Read it and weep. Read it and weep. Read it and weep and eat that shit. I don't give a fuck. Get that ass fucked. Go and give a fuck. Get that ass fucked. Go and cry your eyes out, Rebecca Valentine, you filthy piece of shit. Oh, yes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes. Yes, you love to see it. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. But remember, it is a single-player game, so these numbers are tentative to change quickly. And when they do, expect to see the same cope as always. Look, the game's dead. A single-player game that's meant to be experienced from beginning to end was just numbers. Oh, it fell off. We know it's finna happen. It's the same cope every single time. But oh boy. Ain't great, and wonderful. Now, granted, you have to keep in mind, this is a game that's being held up by the CCP. Keep that in mind, too. This is an element of the story that usually doesn't get covered. It is a game being held up by the CCP. It is literally the story of Sun Wukong, probably one of the most famed characters in Chinese mythology. One of the most beloved, frequently used, all the time. I'm not shocked that it's selling a lot of money. Namely because when the first thing that popped about this story was that they rejected the ESG money, it was going to pop just based on people saying, oh my god, it's different. But if you know anything about the story, you know that this does not mean that the game itself is good. It means that people want something different. But it also does mean that the game's success is a reflection of China's policy. And how China, effectively, just has to do good business and they will make money. The same way the West could just do good business and make money. Theirs comes with Censorious Overreach, whereas the rest of theirs comes with Censorious Overreach, and they want you to try and play a game like Concord. Regardless. Moving on.
Records on Steam. I think over the weekend it is going to take the #1 spot for most played game ever on the platform for most concurrent people in game. I think that
that number doesn't exactly matter, Var, if we're being honest. A single player game that becomes a smash hit gets played by everybody because everybody wants to be a part of the conversation. They don't want to miss out. They want to be in the middle of the conversation. They want to be included in the discussion. They don't want to feel that they lose the opportunity to have something to say or something to do. They are as they are. Doesn't make people stupid, doesn't make people dumb, doesn't make people bad, but it is the truth of the matter. Many of them, and their viewpoints begin and end at, I'm bored, I want to be entertained, give me something I want it now, gimme, mine. It's kind of the beginning and the end of how that's really solved. That's not a bad thing, but it is a thing. And we have to keep that in mind. You know, it's the same argument with Hades 2. How many people really, truly, quote, love that game, and how many just like the fact that they got to play the game. And they got to be the first to experience it. Or they got to be the first in the shit getting coverage and news for it. Doesn't mean that they are less than, doesn't mean that they are to be ignored, or that their opinions don't matter. But it does mean that there is a reason. It does mean that there is a reason. And as long as there is a reason, we have to remember that reason and its context. So with that alone, that's just the high and the low. I wish it weren't like that, but it do be like that. That's how it do be. That's how it do be. And it's shit, because it should not be like that. But it do be. But it do be. But it do be. Regardless.
That is most certainly going to happen in just a couple of days. It's already today recording this beaten its all-time peak, hilariously enough, and it is now sitting at 2,358,580 people, all-time peak as of 4 hours ago. But now that the game is so successful, like a lot of us thought it was going to be, the IGN reporter who smeared this game's developers thinking that it was going to go over well and it might have been some like career-defining defining moment for her has locked down her social media. Now, I'm not saying she can't do this, right? If she feels uncomfortable, if she doesn't like the criticism that she's receiving, she can hide behind a block and hide behind a protected account. I personally just think it's pathetic. I've never...
True, but here's the thing, and here's why she's not allowed to. What did she do? She chose to tell a lie about a game company, to push a political narrative, to hurt the game's financial chances. She should be taken to court. She should be taken to court and sued. Because that is tentative damages, potentially because of hatred, animosity, or any other dumb shit that they have to say. That isn't justified, but they will find a way to justify it because they don't like the person in question that it's against. That is obviously ridiculous, but they're not on reasonability standards. They're not about telling the truth. They're not about understanding. They're not about them details. They care specifically about one thing and one thing only, and that is getting what they want out of the situation. That's the only thing that matters to them. Because that's the only thing that matters to them, okay, no problem. You want to talk shit about the company? You want to talk shit about the game? Okay. Money where your mouth is. Let's put that on your CV. Let's put that on your resume. Let's make sure people know what your affiliations are and how you feel about video games and about the consumer. Because what she said about the consumer is, my opinion matters more than the people who buy the game. Now, of course, this is obviously fucking stupid and false. But if you think it matters more, by all means, let it matter more. And then when we sue you in court, you're going to have to pay the restitutions that it comes with. Because there's no reason why that makes sense for a person to say, for a person to do, or for a person to act like. It wasn't reasonable to begin with, but if we're calling spades a spade, we have to understand these are not reasonable people. They've never been reasonable. They don't intend on being reasonable. They don't have the ability to be reasonable, because being reasonable means having to tell the truth. And they're not finna tell truths. They're not in the business of truth-telling. They're in the business of lying, and lying for money. So as long as they're able to lie for money, they will never truly take accountability for their actions. So, if they believe that they have the censure to just lie constantly about the consumer, take them to court. Tweets are admissible in court. You can prove malice. It's very easy to prove malice. Because since they want to be malicious about fucking over a company, about fucking over payments, and other shit that matters, if they want to be livid, no problem. Get it on tape. Take every tweet, take every recording, make them prove their point in court. It should be easy, right? They said they hated women. They said so with their words, supposedly. So prove it. If you can't prove it, maybe shut your bitch ass up. Stay on the couch. Stay on the couch next to Alyssa McContie. Be protected with your friends in the cottage industry that is afforded to you because people don't get to see you get punishments. Starts doing some truths and consequences. They're gonna change. They will change. Either she will change, or she's not gonna like what comes next. Period. It's as simple as that. Take that ass to court. Take that ass to court. Take that ass to court. I would press start on the video, but unfortunately I'm currently being pressed by shield chargers.
Privated my account. I've never blocked anyone. I'm blocked by her, by the way. And she's got a locked account right now. But that's how these people act. They say something, they do something, and then they can't stand by their statements or their stance, and they go into protected mode, which I think is kind of pitiful. It says, though, the IGN...
I think it's worse. I think the problem is that these individuals want to have the power to control a business, but they don't want to have the consequences and the responsibility that comes with it. Which is why I think you should start taking the fucking asses to court. You start taking them to court, you start suing them, you start hitting them with slap deals, and they are going to lose their ability to keep talking this shit because they are not getting coverage over the head of all of their issues from the heads of their fucking editors and CVs. They don't have the ability to afford this. If you keep making it clear who they are, you put their face and their name next to what they're doing, and you say, why did you ruin this business's standard, and why did you lie about them? Start making it cost. That's how you're going to change this. This goes along with the fact that you need to have a business crash in the games industry. The cottage industry of journalists like that need to be destroyed. The industry of individuals like myself and Bara need to be improved by them receiving the crowd support that comes with actually telling the truth about these stories, doing the research, and presenting it to people to make sure they can hear about it. And then the corpos that sit there doing it, Nick's already on top of it. Corporate accounts should never have the option to block replies without filing a complaint about their account and the report problems that are there. Yes, sir. You can't see it. I'm pointing at the chat room on my screen. He's over here. But no, right there. 100%. 100%. You do not have the right, as a person of the journalism class, and say that you can decide what is and isn't a news story, and then ignore people calling you out about getting facts wrong. You should have your licenses strict. You should have no protections. You should lose the insurance that comes with getting sued for the lawsuits that you're going to get hit with. And you should be fucked for doing so. And should be shamed out of the industry until you learn what journalistic ethics are. All of those things together fix the industry. Easy. Easy. Easy, easy.
Reporter Rebecca Valentine has indicated she's left X and locked her account in the wake of her smears against Black Myth Wukong developer Game Science completely and utterly failing. We saw this happen last year as well. With Hogwarts Legacy, there were tons of journos who were trying to attack it, and then as soon as the game came out and it was a giant success, they either went completely silent about it or they flipped the script and said, wow, this game's actually really, really great. And that's funny enough what IGN is doing right now. IGN, every single time they talked about Black Myth Wukong over the past year, since this, report came out, if you can even call it that, the smear campaign came out, they had attacked the game and the developers. Every time they mentioned this title, they would mention the IGN report. But now suddenly that the game has come out and it is a smash success, they're not doing that anymore. If we just take a quick peek on YouTube at IGN Black Myth Wukong, they've got the first 13 minutes of gameplay. They've got the official launch trailer of how to unlock the secret area in Chapter 2, how to absorb spirits, and hey, I think that this is good that they're doing this because they're ultimately talking about the game. They're doing what game journalists...
I would say no, and I will tell you why, Vara. There is this concept that exists within video game creation called search engine optimization. There are two kinds of it. There's the kind that comes from what we all hate. I have a news story about that later, actually. Which is people taking the news from other people's channels, taking their content, and repurposing it as their own. This happens two different ways. First, you've got what you have here. This is the same shit that happened with any game that has ever been released within the last few years. Person makes a game, that game becomes popular or is tentatively reported to be coming out soon, and then they do what's called bot scalping. All those articles that you see there, all those news parts on that particular piece of work, is that original work that came from the website, or did they take that from someone else's content? Now, this is on the YouTube side. The version I'm talking about exists for websites trying to search engine optimize by taking media that they found on other parts of their website and claiming it as their own, despite it being the original work of somebody else. When this is done, and it's done often for search engine optimization and domination, when you SEO dominate using this kind of crawler and scraper, it means that the work in question could be inaccurate. So let's say, for example, the guide, rather, not the guide, but the coach content that I just did earlier, that I featured both here on the channel and will also be featured on the secondary VOD channel of SVCL. When you use search engine domination like this, you're not actually making content, you're stealing content from other people. And the theft of this content actually makes it harder to make sure that the game has natural growth. Because, much like that with the case of search engine optimization when it came to Helldivers 2, you have a bunch of people, basically, too lazy, or, if you want to use a fair enough argument, unwilling to put in the extra time to confirm something as true themselves, and instead just taking the media work of something else that someone else considers popular, taking that person's name, and saying, hey, I got the newest guide from so-and-so. You guys should copy this build. Blah, 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 blah. In most people's minds, they'd say this is harmless. This just gives people more information. But realistically, it is not. Because what it actually does is that all of the potential that a person could have for getting their work off the ground is cratered by the fact of the matter that their work isn't being seen as their work. How does that mean? Well, let's say there's a content creator here in the audience that sees what I'm doing, likes something from my work, and basically copies it. Well, I wouldn't be upset. I would be annoyed over time. Because if they cite my work, at the very least, I'd want them to say, hey guys, it's so-and-so here, playing another game, and I just got this new build that I took from Single Player Carl, friend of the channel. Please go like and sub and subscribe. I ain't got a problem with that. What IGN and the rest of them do is they take what's called a bot scraper. It's also known as a bot crawler. They take that crawler, and it leaks and searches through the internet, looking for information. That information gets pulled from your articles, from your videos, from your closed captions, from your timestamps. They pull all that shit, and then it automatically shits out an article. And then the person who used the bot puts their name on it, and they do not credit your source. They use your content, they use your clips, they use anything that you produced, but you are not given credit or money. And that's the problem. Now, IGN is amongst one of the biggest offenders of this. Another great offender of this is Polygon. Another offender of this is pretty much Destructoid. In all seriousness and honesty, every single one of the websites do this. And it's because it's search engine optimization. In a world where you have to fight against people like myself that are passionate players, you need every bit of an upper leg that you can get. So in their infinite wisdom, it makes sense. Why not take their stuff? Why not get free money? Why not do that? There's no reason for us to not do it. It enriches us. The gamers get the clips that they want. Because realistically, and this is what we consider guru-style content, there's no reason for them to not want it. Because, hey, if the gamers want it, and they're willing to pay money for it, and they're willing to give attention for it, who's to say that we shouldn't? Now, I see it as poisonous. Because realistically, how do I make a name for myself if other people steal my work and can't credit shit that I'm responsible for making and doing? I have no interest in working in an environment like that. Because I'm basically never going to be able to get my foot off the ground. Not a question of being lucky and making it. My hard work, my efforts, being used and stolen, and you can't even pay me for the shit that I put? For the sheer fact that I wanted to know? But the mega conglomerate can not only lie, cheat, and steal, and talk shit about the game, but then when the game eventually smashes, they can change tactics, change foot, take the work from other people who deserve to have the recognition, and act like they were not preying on its downfall the entire time? No, 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 no. Not in my world. Not in my world. We ain't playing that game over here. Fuck no. You finna pay me. You finna pay Vara. You finna pay side scrollers. You finna pay us. You don't get to destroy our business and then say, hey yo, let's make some money off them though. Fuck no. Hell no. Again, I'm not castigating Vara for not explaining that detail. She might not know. It might not be something she's aware of. It'd be great if I could have a conversation with her about it. She might not know, but I do. Because I suffer it all the time. The most common thing I hate is people stealing my fucking work. And then acting as though the shit's not new. Or acting as though the shit is new, excuse me. Give me 1 second. I need to wipe this.
do, which is cover a game, but they're clearly trying to cover their asses now because they had smeared the game so much, and they realize, oh my god, we have to put up these guides or else we're not going to get views because everyone is pointing and laughing at IGN.
I mean, it's worse than that. As we should remember, Kotaku was the one that had put this out, that they needed to hit their fucking margins or these people were going to start getting fired. So they needed to change their entire model system to actually being able to talk about the games rather than just talking about people talking about the games. And that is a great turnaround because it means that it's not an infinite amount of money and an infinite amount of attention that they can be given and granted with grace, as though this shit's not going to affect them down the line. Because of course it leads to the obvious truth, which is, yeah, of course it's gonna fucking affect you. You guys decided to act like fucking idiots, and then you acted like this shit was not going to come back to blow in your face. But yeah, my point entirely. My point entirely. Call and crew. What is the best movie Punisher? Technically, I'm partial to Thomas Jane. I think Thomas Jane is the best.
At Screen Rant, at PC Gamer, and they can't stand by their freaking stance anymore. So now that IGN is putting up all of these guides, Rebecca has suddenly left social media. Her bio on X now reads no longer on Twitter. Do not DM. She locked her account and protected her posts, so only her approved followers can view her posts. I personally think she's probably going to be wiping her social media. She's going to be deleting a lot of the posts that she's made over the past, year about this game. But her leaving X and locking down her account comes in the wake of it seeing massive success despite repeated smears levied at the game. Soon after its release, it became the second most played game based on concurrent players on Steam of all time. The game hit a peak concurrent of 2,223,000, and the only game it did not best was PUBG Battlegrounds, which has an all-time peak of 3.2. I do think over the weekend it will hit these numbers. We're talking about a Tuesday release, and it's already doing amazing. Never mind going into the weekend when...
I wouldn't say that Tuesday release is directly what affects the spread of the game, because this was a game that has been looked forward to for years. Technically, Palworld had the exact same standards about itself, and the part that makes that story clear there is the desire to have that focus to follow the game is what shows the interest of the basic player. But of course, if you put this in hand with that fucking retarded ass post that came from the content creator Nadeshot, in their viewpoint, this is just people, making choices, bro. It's completely normal, You guys, we're just not looking forward to playing proper games, bro. That's what that is. We hate content creation. Don't you know? We're not getting good games to play because we just don't want good games to buy. And some other fucking retarded shit he said. My viewpoint, I see it for what it is, which is just deliberate levels of cope. But that's just what people say now, because I believe that guy made his post just to try and go viral. Look for some outrage.
People actually have a ton of free time and everybody's basically on at once. Now, the article says the game's success comes following a report in 2023 that accused the developers of sexism and misogyny. It was reported that several posts have surfaced from Chinese social media written by individuals from the studio that contain multiple references to genitalia and sexual innuendos. Now, of course, you are allowed to not like these posts. You are allowed to sit here and think that, oh my god, they're smutty and that they're weird. Yeah, sure, you can think that, but at the end of the day, that does not mean that the developers are sexist. It just means that they're making jokes that you find personally distasteful. It does not mean that they act unprofessionally towards women, or they view women as, the lesser sex. It's not like they think that females shouldn't be playing their video games. I personally, as a woman, don't find offense in these types of things. I've been on the internet for a long time at this point. There's no joke or humor that really bothers me. Even I make expense at my gender a lot. Like when I'm driving in video games, I say, oh my gosh, a woman's driving, be careful, everybody off the road. Like, it's fine to do that. Even if you don't like those jokes, that doesn't mean that they are so offensive that these developers should be canceled and that people should lose their jobs. And yes, a lot of the comments and statements that IGN had referenced were found to be mistranslated, and it's just so sad to see this happen. I get
Not just mistranslated, intentionally mistranslated to add malice. Again, taking the court.
that you might not like somebody on this development team or game science in totality, but at the end of the day, they're just trying to create a video game. And yes, they are ultimately just human beings that are going to do things like make jokes. I say this all the time. I still support titles that have teams filled with lefties because there are individuals out there who can leave their politics at the door and try to create something new and unique and fun and exciting. And yeah, sometimes there might be somebody on a team that I politically disagree with, but that's okay because they are just trying to create entertainment, and that's something that these journos, these activists just don't understand. They try to get people to boycott titles based on the fact that they don't like someone who's behind it. Like with Hogwarts Legacy, they tried to get people to boycott it because of JK, even though she didn't actually touch the game in any way, shape, or form. She simply signed paperwork saying, oh,
Say his name. Troy Levitt. Troy Levitt was being harassed out of his own company because people wanted to attack him over the fact that he did not bend his ass over and lick the taint of India Sarkeesian. Say his name. Say his words! Say his words! What a wonderful day! Fuck me.
oh yeah, you can make this game, let's do it. Ah ha ha, this is gonna be so cool. And look at Stellar Blade. They tried to bury Stellar Blade by saying, oh my gosh, these developers clearly think that women are just sexual objects because the women are sexualized in the game. And now they're doing it with Black Myth Wukong. They're saying, oh my gosh, these developers are sexist because the devs have made jokes on social media in the past. In my opinion, that's completely and utterly ridiculous. Yeah, you might find these jokes distasteful, but they're just jokes at the end of the day, and they shouldn't really be taken that seriously. Now, I personally am very happy to see this game's smashing success so far, and it is also pretty funny to see these activists go into hiding because they write articles, they make claims on social media, and then instead of sticking by their stance, they lock their accounts down and they run and hide, which is just pretty pathetic, in my opinion. If you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen. I guess that is what Rebecca is doing. She made these statements, wrote these articles, can't stand by what she said. Now she's running and hiding because she sees how much of a massive success this game is. So it will be interesting to see if anybody else does. I know, of course, when it comes to the Screen Rant situation, they have been hiding the activist behind that review as well after it was found out she worked for a communications consultancy company, which is not very shocking at all whatsoever, but I'll be keeping my eye on this to see if any other journos run and hide. But for now, that's all that I really had to discuss in this video. Let everyone know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this, give it a like, and if you didn't, give it a dislike. I appreciate your support either way, but I'll talk to you all again in the next video really soon.
Thank you, Vara. Very insightful. Ultimately, are we surprised? Are we shocked? No? Roll into the next story. Razor Fist goes off on Black Myth Wukong on side scrollers. Let's watch. I believe the lawn company is here.
There is more AstroTurf around this story than a 70s baseball stadium. Stop simping for this communist Chinese company.
Black Myth Wukong. Now look, this started not too long ago.
What is that, like a myth that goes out for cigarettes and doesn't come back?
Oh no, it's coming for your wallet. right? It's coming for your wallet today. Okay, so let's give everybody a little backstory here. So back in November, IGN wrote an article about Black Myth Wukong's developer. The developer is a company called Game Science. This is a Chinese company that was, they've developed a couple iPhone games along the way, but this is their first big game that's coming out, right? And this article, it talked about how sexist and misogynistic this company was, and it has a history of sexism and complicating its journey to the West, right? And this article has since been debunked several times, most notably by a YouTuber who came out and said, like, look, the person who translated all these things that were supposedly misogynistic and sexist wasn't done by somebody who speaks Chinese native. If they did speak this Chinese natively, they would have known that that is not the proper translation along the way. Was it rude? Sure. Was it crude? Sure. Was it sexist? No. Was it misogynistic? No. And it really this was the narrative behind the developer, Game Science, pretty much for the last 6-7 months. That this is a company that is sexist, misogynistic, whatever, and you've seen this ran with over and over again on Kotaku, Polygon, any media outlet, and they always credit this article, the IGN article, as the history of sexist and misogynistic behavior, right? But it's all been fabricated, okay? It's just a giant lie.
Well, certainly been fabricated.
Well, there have been some early reviews of Black Myth Wukong as well, and it is scored very well by those who have scored the game, with the lone exception primarily being Screen Rant. Now, Racer, did you see this last week when the Screen Rant review came out?
No.
Okay.
Screen Rant's track record, though, for Christ's sake, come on.
Well,
a long and storied history of crippling retardation.
Well, one of the reasons why they gave it a 3 out of 5 was its lack of diversity and inclusion, and we're talking about a game that's built around essentially monkey men fighting other mythical creatures, and there's not enough diversity and inclusion in this game. So they gave it a 3 out of 5, and that's pretty much the lowest score. It drove down.
You could be able to accept fiction. You could be able to accept gay romance, but you couldn't accept the Ford F-150.
Unlike the average store across the board, right? So there's been that. And then there was some other talk about, like, when they sent out the codes to play back Black Myth Wukong, the company itself, the PR company, said, like, hey, we pretty much just want you to talk about our game, right? We don't want you to talk about anything Chinese related. If you're going to talk about, you don't need to mention politics. You don't need to mention feminist propaganda. We just want you to talk about our game. They said, don't mention COVID. Don't mention COVID.
Let's be
Your
real.
damn studio's owned by communist China. How the hell are you going to demand that? Man, I know people are defending this developer, but you know what? You people can blow me. There is more AstroTurf around this story than a 70s baseball stadium. Stop simping for this fucking communist Chinese company and their shitty game about a stupid fucking monkey. Stop this shit. Do you people not realize that these game companies have caught on to the fact that you will jump to their reflexive defense and do viral marketing for their shit games? They caught on to this a long fucking time ago. Stop playing into their hands. Jesus Christ. Fuck. Am I the only person who said I said this a long time ago when Cyberpunk 2077 did this? Witcher 3 did this shit. And with CD Projekt, anti-woke, were they, like, seriously, were they bait? No. They wound up snooping for all this crap too when the ESG money came, the ESG truck basically parked the fucking money up to their house. That's what I'm seeing. This is AstroTurf on their part. And the fact that, like, Screen Rant and all the usual suspects who usually signal boost this stuff and wind up making these games successful, basically by getting a bunch of people to get it free publicity, are involved in this, to me, that just ratifies this entire idea. I don't know. Yeah, you guys, if you enjoyed the game, that's great, but it's a stupid fucking Chinese monkey game. Who gives a shit?
I just want to put my 2 cents in. Like, I understand you shouldn't talk politics in gaming. That should just be, like, the thing, the general gist of it. Like, why do you have to bring real world stuff to a video game? But the fact that they're going out and saying, hey, if you play this game, you cannot do this.
For the record, I didn't say the game was bad. It's a game about, it's like a Chinese monkey game. This game would have a very, very limited appeal if there had not been a huge controversy, a big incumbent controversy around it. You clearly can see, and if I sat here and thought about it, I can think of a number of examples. Cyberpunk is one I can immediately think of. Witcher's another one. I think there was one around Elden Ring too, wasn't there? Like a slight controversy about lack of wokeness or diversity or something. There's been a number of games the last several years where
He's thinking about the hair color argument.
That's a problem. And the media kind of jumps on it, but not hard. But it's like just enough to sort of get that reflex action happening from consumers. Be like, oh, what are you talking about? We don't want that kind of diversity in the game. And actually, Hogwarts, right? Hogwarts Legacy. There was trans stuff in that. There were pronoun people in that. It wasn't an anti-woke game at all. But it was like, you got this reflexive defensive action from gamers and from consumers, and it wound up basically signal boosting the game. A Harry Potter game, I mean, granted, Harry Potter, very, very successful, but I don't think that game is as successful as it wound up being if that doesn't happen. It was like...
He's 100% correct. He's 100% correct. Because if the whole fucking argument about Saron and Ryan wasn't such a big thing for them to say, oh my god, I can't believe you guys are making fun of trans people like this, there would not have been an argument about it. A lot of it comes down to the fact that that's what people cared about. They cared more about the angle and the perspective of what it looked like rather than what was actually there. Is that to say that they shouldn't? In my opinion, not really. I don't think that's all of what it really has to do. Because it's the mixture of the outside and the inside. I'm working on it. That game would not have been as popular as it was if it weren't for those controversies. In and of itself, it's no Tears of the Kingdom, it's no Breath of the Wild. Which is to say, it's no gameplay cycle where the focus is on people having fun rather than the controversies that came with that game and all the signal boosting that went around people basically seeing people who were bored, looking for something to be upset about, who needed to specifically be upset about particularly the things they are concerned about. For some, they are concerned about their propaganda. Some were concerned about, is our harassment campaign going to kick off correctly? We got to make sure that signal boost is right, otherwise it's not going to work. Others concerned about things that have nothing to do with anything of any general relevance, acting as though it's a normal thing to try to make a list about people who are playing a video game, using an API that doesn't actually track if they actually played the game, but just tracks the API of whether or not they changed in their activity feed that they were going to play the game. All retarded levels of stupidity, and then of course the retardation that comes with people being upset about the particular outcome of that game cycle, claiming that because their favorite content creator did not simp for another content creator, whether they were victimized or not, by a group of people attacking them, stalking them, harassing them, being obsessed with them, and trying to control the narrative on them. Regardless of all those things, people cared a lot more about the fact that the situation was happening and to say that they were there and they were involved when the shit went down versus actually having a point to why they should give a shit. In my opinion, I don't give a shit. I played the game. I completed the game, off camera of course. Not to say that it's a bad game. It's just, it needed more, in my opinion. But any amount of effort that people go through where they do not remember that that's how that story came about, that people basically looked into the game because they saw that there was drama, not being excited about the game, and then drama naturally happening as a consequence of retarded choices made by retarded people. It's not a Helldivers 2 situation, basically. It is instead what happens when people who care a lot more about drama look into the drama more than they do about the things that actually matter, which is the gameplay. There are various ways that this happens. It's no one's fault particularly, where they have to be excoriated for not doing enough. But it all comes from a place, and there were people, and are people, and will be people, who care infinitely more about the outrage than they will about the actual story. Because how do they know what the story is? All of their opinions are coming from Twitter. And not all the people on Twitter are listening to all the people who are actually doing the hard work. And if they were, very hard for them to argue for it. Because there's no promise that they know what they're talking about. And even if they did, now it's the same issue I was discussing earlier. Search engine optimization. Do they know what's being said? Do they know what's being done? Is all of their importance and focus around the topic coming from a place of understanding and concern? Or is it coming from a place of, I want to be on the news story, because if I talk about this news story, I can get clout on my channel? That's really what it all comes down to. It's stupid. By all means, it is fucking dumb. But that's what I see it as.
Like reverse, it was negative viral marketing. That's
Well, that was my whole thing. Because of the boycott, which is why I was pointing this out actually this morning, right here. Let me blow this up for you guys, saying, bit odd seeing everyone praise Black Myth for defeating DEI, whilst the last year they're doing a boycott on Hogwarts Legacy. And the thing is, no one's actually talking about the gameplay. I want to know, is the gameplay actually good? Because everyone's just going, oh, the game, it beats DEI, it beats DEI, blah, blah, blah. No, you guys are just doing Hogwarts Legacy, but in reverse this time. Instead of the boycott, saying, I'll show them. It's like, how's the game?
I think there's multiple layers to this, right? And you're right, there is.
Haven't I said before myself? Why are people talking about how great the game is and not actually talking about the game? The game is woke. The game is woke. The game is bad. Rums and Grutus Rambo constantly. Oh, the game is woke. You have to do something about the game. The game is woke. What does it play like? What's the systems? Vindicated.
yes, how does the game play, right? Is the game fun? And by most accounts, it's exceptionally good. Right?
Yeah, I'm sure it is good. I'm sure the gameplay is good. But man, I bet you, if you sat down with none of this controversy and you just said, all right, dude, it's about like ancient Chinese monkey history, I'm thinking pretty limited appeal. Right? I'm not thinking you could look at a screenshot of this and go, yeah, I want to play that as bad as I want to play The Elder Scrolls or whatever popular game, Fallout, whatever the heck.
I kind of feel like this is a niche game because I was talking to some of the guys this morning and I was like, so why did you buy this game? How do you think of this game? And they're like, we bought it because we want to experience the Chinese mythology and things like that, specifically for like where the setting is of the game and things like that. And that's fine. Like if you want to play the game, obviously go play the game. But everyone's screaming about how amazing it is. It's like, did you even play it though? Like, why are you like amplifying this without even actually playing it for yourself? It's kind of silly.
So, getting back to kind of what we were talking about though, is there was this article from IGN, right? And they went out there, and you saw, I mentioned how this narrative was repeated over and over and over again, and it all referenced this, the idea of sex.
One of
and
the reasons it feels astroturfed a little bit is they're kind of hitting on the same points.
Right. Now, I don't think that you're wrong, Razor, and I don't think you're wrong either, Blabs. I think that there is definitely a response, whether it's IGN doing the best marketing for Black Myth Wukong by saying, hey, this is sexist, this is misogynistic, and people going like, hey, you know what? Fuck them. Fuck IGN. I'm gonna buy it. And it's
such a weird hill to die on too, because it's like, do you think you're defeating DEI by simping for a Chinese game, China being the primary funder of DEI in America?
Well,
yes,
okay,
they do.
There's a level to that as well, right? Here's that other layer. The idea that you're willing to side with a communist company over siding with communist game journalists, right? So, would you rather side with the communist blue-haired, nose ring mafia, as Smash puts it, or would you rather side with an actual communist company from China?
Who is funding the DEI, ESG, and Bridge? Like they're behind a bunch of that funding. They're behind funding for BlackRock. They're behind funding for all this stuff, all these DEI initiatives. Like, take that. It's Pequods and Queequegs from Deus Ex Invisible War, where the two rival coffee companies are they're warring against each other, and it turns out they're both owned by the Illuminati in that game. Like, that's what I'm witnessing here.
Well, the response to this has been overwhelming, as people have come in and bought this game by the millions, and it didn't set a record for most players playing a game at once, but it did set a record for most for a single player, as it had 2.2 million people playing it in the last 24 hours, which, if you look at the top records over on Steam, puts it between Pal World and PUBG when it first launched. So, and obviously you saw that game Banana earlier this year, but it beats out, like, we're talking like all-time great games. PUBG, Pal World, which had its peak and then it kind of flashed out. The Pal World, I think people can look back on that as kind of a flash in the pan, but Counter-Strike 2...
I had no idea.
I would argue that Pal World is not a flash in the pan. It was a game that had a lot of content, but the problem is that just by the same general nature of something like Don't Starve Together, Once Human, V Rising, you need to play the game, and you need to be playing the game with your friends and find ways to make fun for yourself in order for you to really be able to get something out of the game experience. You're not going to be rewarded in the way that you would with something like The First Descendant, where you're going to be jumping in and playing alongside other people in the system, similar to what would have already been possible and should have been normal for Helldivers 2. I am playing aschematically with a level 15 person who's probably farming and grinding just like I am. You weak as fuck! But at no time in Imperium time is it a crime that they've done what they did to Helldivers here. Sony didn't make it so that they had to have a login code registration, that I know of. They didn't cripple the game with a bunch of nerfs and buffs. Whether because people were saying, excuse me, Swaggy, you need to build your Ajax correctly. If you aren't able to put down a proper drink shield and kill multiple people in a pack around you with a level 3 void explosion, it means your build is fucking bad and I'm gonna kick you from my fucking instincts. We got providences if we want them. The actual hard difficulty is hard. There's content. There's endless replayability. There's a system that I will have to break down once I get to my guide for it, that rewards you for playing the game consistently in a way where you're not no-lifing it constantly. Because you're not going to get the same benefit playing this game where you just no-life it than you would other ones. It is a game that actually rewards people who want to spend time chilling and having fun, not having to be the first one to rush to search engine optimization. All these things and more are not the things that happen in the other contexts. Pal World and its problem is the same with Don't Starve Together. It's a lot of gameplay, and while that one is more single-player focused, Don't Starve and Don't Starve Together is more single-player and multiplayer focused, with a over-incentivization on it's not so much a sandbox survival game in DST, but it's all about learning how to speedrun in a boss rush. Because all the stuff in the game is based on a system with early game, mid game, and late game focuses. Not many people are prepared for that if they're not prepared for those types of environments. Because, of course, this is the main thing when it comes to those games. They're made by companies that specialize in it. People want to have something that appeals to all massive audiences, rather than playing the game that appeals to them. And half the problems are born from that desire. Are they to be blamed for it? No, I wouldn't say so. But there's a reason.
Idea Baldur's Gate 3 beat out Cyberpunk for concurrent players.
Yeah, man. Yeah. But this game in particular, I mean, it's a very big deal, and there's a strong response to what has been happening. And as pointed out by David, says the hype for Wukong comes from way before the SBI detected and other pushes against DEI. People loved how the game looked, and the Souls genre is very popular. I truly believe it would have been successful anyway. Thanks, David. Appreciate that. And
2.2 million successful. Plus, is it 2.2 million people playing? Most of those people are Chinese, and we all know communists aren't people. So
right. Well, as pointed out, this is not a Souls-like game. As pointed out by the developer.
It's not really a joke.
This is it's like an action-adventure game, as the developer like to put it. So it's not a Souls-like. It's not meant to be exceptionally hard along the way. But the response to this has been ridiculously overwhelming. But so let's take a step back. What about that IGN article? What about that IGN article? They were clearly wrong along the way. Have they retracted that article? Well, we saw it earlier. The obvious.
Have they retracted their Alien Isolation review? Come on, please.
Well, the person who wrote this article has gone private. They went private, and her name is Rebecca Valentine. Pronouns in the bio, obviously, along the way, and proudly a member of the IGN union. Says no longer on Twitter, but although so much so that they're no longer on Twitter that they feel the need to
just delete their account.
Private their account just today. And I was like, who is this person? And I also was blocked, even though I've never spoken to this person in my life. So, all right, but
I'm
no
curious.
retraction.
I'm curious. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah,
I bet you anything. I bet you anything. It's Blockbot, totally.
Yeah, but so no retraction at all from this, and that's kind of where it's at. And Congdon came in with this tweet along the way, and this could interesting. Says Black Myth Wukong has become the most played single player game of all time on Steam with over 2 million concurrent players. Looks like you don't need to be a game.
I'm more blocked than one of Louis Anderson's arteries. Fantastic.
You're blocked as well. Blaz, are you blocked?
I don't know. What's her last name again?
Her name is just
Rebecca with a K, an A, and an H for some reason.
Yeah, but what's her last name?
Valentine.
Oh,
there you go.
Hilarious last name.
Just curious.
As in
not a whole lot of
she
love.
never gets.
Yes.
No, I'm
Victor.
not blocked. Just protected.
Yeah, they have gone protected. Victor says you don't have to support either. Save your money, invest in your family until these industries collapse. Play classic games until then. There you go, Victor. Let them know. Alpha came in, says, with the 5, says, niche in the West? Sure, Journey to the West is Asia's Lord of the Rings. Also, China funds ESG and DEI to the tune of billions to further denigrate the West. Thank you, Alpha. Appreciate that.
Listen, if it's a great game, and from what I've seen, it looks fun, and great for the people who bought it. But for me personally, I'm like, if it's an actual great game, celebrate it. Don't just celebrate it because it's, to the DEI people. And that's my whole thing with the Hogwarts Legacy shit. And let's be real, so many people on our side did that, and you're like, yeah, Hogwarts Legacy suck at trans people. It's like, there's literally a tranny in there. Like, hello.
Because at that point, you are giving people you don't like control over you.
Exactly. And the real losers are the actual fans of these franchises because they're not actual great games, right? The real losers are the fans because they didn't actually get what they wanted because everyone had some type of agenda and ruined it for everybody else. That's my point.
What are you doing here?
Yes, sir.
It's like the Ultimate Warrior on the ring rope.
This is my war dance.
Well, the response has definitely been overwhelming. Like I said, breaking single-player records on Steam. It'll be interesting to see if IGN actually does go and respond or make any sort of retraction or any sort of statement being like, yeah, we kind of messed up on that, and sorry about portraying an entire narrative around it. Like I said, these stories are not just black and white. There's a lot of layers associated with it, and these are layers that we get to talk about on a day-to-day basis. So it's important to kind of make the whole burger along the way. Let's go to something burger.
But before we move off on this,
yes, yes,
you have to understand what hypnotism is, right? People think hypnotism is I dangle a watch in front of your face and then you bark like a dog. No, hypnotism is a real thing. But what it is it's basically hitting like nerds. It's plucking reflex actions. So if you're just averse to being told what to do, reverse psychology is kind of another way of saying hypnotism. So if they're telling you don't eat turds and you're like, I'll show you, I'll eat a turd, right? You've been hypnotized. Don't let them hypnotize you in this way. Because that's what's happening. That's exactly what's happening there. If your reaction is not a sincere expression of your enjoyment of the game, you're a slave to what someone else wants you to do. Period. Even if you think you're doing the opposite of what they want you to do, which you may not be.
Radial Drago came in and says, I think the problem is that it needed to be said at all. Politics, regardless or where it comes from, shouldn't be the basis of your reviews.
Exactly. How many reviews out there are about the politics of this game, or Hogwarts Legacy, or some other like really well established video game? What about the gameplay? What about the story? Huh? No. Okay. What's this shit? Drives me nuts.
Sim says, it's at least more appealing than Ninja Theory's version, but personally, I'd rather wait later for a sale, since there will be bugs day one. It's true. There's always some sort of adjustment.
What was that terrible Ninja Gaiden ripoff from the 360 era?
The 360 one or the
was it Ninja Blade? Was that it? That horrible ripoff of Ninja Gaiden? Remember that?
There were some very bad Ninja Gaiden clones.
Oh man, that was unplayable, that game.
All right. Also, wow, Retromeister came in with a $50 super chat. Says, "Hail Scrollers! On the topic of backyard sports, there's an old Cartoon Network spy show called Codename Kids Next Door, which was the most revolutionary piece of animation to date. Oh, nice. It covered many hot topics compared to any show and was fun to watch. Well, Retromeister, thank you so much for that insane support. We appreciate that greatly. And thank you. Let's go.
What a segue. Please continue with the content.
I actually need to pull up this one right here from Jessica. Very little, if any, people about Hogwarts because of the internet drama. Reasonable blabs are lacking all knowledge on the game sales. They keep inserting their unqualified opinions and objective facts. Okay, so that is a false news, fake news.
No! Did you just give us, hey, Blabs, give us a...
Fake news.
You are fake news.
You are fake news. I can't do it, I'm a woman. But anyway, yes. I actually researched this, and if you watch my video, you will know that I said the biggest reason people picked up Hogwarts Legacy was because it was a Harry Potter Wizarding World video game, and there hasn't been one in like a decade plus. That was the biggest factor for it. However, if you actually see people talk about this game, they're like, yeah, it was okay, but I dropped it after like 2 weeks. Not a whole lot of people were like, yes, I'm gonna go replay this game for the millionth time because it lacks a lot of things. Anyway, watch my video and you'll see. 30 minutes.
I'll say this about that idea, that most games have about a 2-week shelf life on them, right?
Yeah.
And you're not
like
wrong.
a month at the most. For
right.
Yeah, true, but like everyone's like, I'm gonna...
Certified abilities. Why do they speak like those who have a passing knowledge of a topic? Because they have a passing knowledge of the topic. Razorfist is mainly a political and gaming news channel. Stuttering Craig and Blabs are the runners of Side Scrollers, which is a political and gaming culture news channel. They cover the news story frequently. They know what they're talking about, the same way that I do. That's why they're referencing things that happened. First time? And, in my opinion, I think Helldivers is a game that you can only be able to play with your friends at this point. There's no, like, bigger audience for it outside of you and a group of people playing and having fun and doing the missions. I don't think the game itself is going to permanently die. I think, if anything, they would have to pull the plug at some point in order for that to matter.
Gotta replay this for every house because there's
I don't think they
I'm
will.
gonna try, but like it's the same outcome every single time. The replayability of that specific game, there was no consequences whatsoever in that game.
Right, but people absolutely did buy that game just to stick it to them, man. Like that was the number one sold game. Yes,
I feel,
absolutely.
you know what? Let me mitigate that just a little bit. I feel like that was more a phenomenon, not so much in the sales, but in the streaming, which probably did drive sales, to be fair. But I feel like there were people who streamed that game just to stick it to SJWs.
Oh yeah, there were people coming in all over on Twitch, watching it, and just because they were so interested, and also they wanted to ruin the story for everyone who was streaming on Twitch. Like there were people who knew the ending, they would come in and be like, this happens, this happens. But like, yeah, so many people tuned in on Twitch.
Right, and when you look at like Hogwarts, someone mentioned there's over 8,000 people playing Hogwarts Legacy right now on Steam. Like, yeah, so right now there are 8,000 people playing that game on Steam right now. Like, now the game is over a year old. It was released.
But correction though, there was a big update that happened in the last few months where people were able to access a new quest. That was probably, in my opinion, the best thing about the entire game, an exclusive PlayStation 5 quest that was on PC a year and a half later. So that is also why people are still playing that game. Because
there is something to this though. I mean, obviously a game's been out for over a year. You don't expect it to carry the number of, its all-time peak. It had, 500,000 people playing it at one time. To put that in perspective, Hogwarts Legacy was a viral moment, and Black Myth Wukong is 4x that. It's 4 times Hogwarts Legacy, specifically on Steam. So, and right now, that game, Black Myth Wukong, it still has over 1 million people playing it. Now, it's seen a tremendous drop-off in the last 6 hours. I'm sure a lot of that has to do with people going to work and things like that. And we'll see it pop back up this evening when people go back and they sit down in front of their PCs or whatever. So,
well, is there a multiplayer component to it? Because that tends to be what keeps games like this going. If it's just the single player, that's just going to drop off naturally. That happens to the most popular games, right?
I don't believe there's a multiplayer element to it. I believe it's just a single player experience. So.
That concludes that news story. Which brings us to this one. Dumbass takes from Twitter directly on the timeline. Pain. Someone by the name of Liz Wheeler. This is true. Men playing video games is peak unattractivity. Beyond a red flag. Deal breaker zone. It's so weird that many weird dudes don't get this. In this world, by this person's perspective. Lower the screen a little bit. By this person's perspective, they believe that playing video games is more unattractive than bird watching. Is more unattractive than gambling. Is more unattractive than passionate projects like hobbies such as collecting figurines, magic tricks, building model trains, comic book collecting, or taxidermy. And with playing video games, it somehow is more unattractive than online trolling, which is only 75. I beggar why it's listed like that. I don't think I'm ever going to get an answer. It's, regardless, a really retarded post. And of course, the internet descended upon this take because of its retardation. And then Liz Wheeler tags in another person by the name of Ali Kafulflo, whose opinion is equally stupid. Women don't dislike games because they're geeky. We dislike them because they're antisocial and consumer-based. Like if a woman said TikTok or online shopping was her hobby shouldn't actually doing something, making something, and learning something. And yet, the chart. Also, this particular Ali Kafulflo person is a conservative content creator. But the way that they use their interests is they use them as a way to consume and to be antisocial. Because this itself is antisocial behavior. I think there are takes like this that usually go out that get and go viral for reasons that have no logic to them. In my viewpoint, I think it is stupid as fuck. Extremely so. Because what's the reason behind it? What's the purpose behind shitting on these things that people supposedly like or love or have interest for? What does it accomplish? What are we doing here? In my viewpoint, I think it has an extension more to do with people just wanting to have something go viral. Because, of course, she got community noted. But all this tradcon grifting. Sag. Super sag. It's bait beyond belief, truthfully. But it sparks a conversation, right? Because even while we know that this is a joke post that originated from TikTok because of the community note, there's no source provided for where this came from. So why was this used? Why does this even be a thing that you believe? Do women not have hobbies? Where's the list of least attractive hobbies to women according to men? Then we have something to talk about. Just dumb. Just dumb in general. Switching topics. Brad Taste. Brad Taste, after getting dunked on by his audience, is back again with a video begging for money after not paying his editor. Watch.
What is up, guys? Bradley here of Brad Taste in Music Enterprises. And I, of course, am talking to you about the most recent video, which I just removed off my channel, which was reacting to the new Mori Calliope album. I was very proud of this video. I thought it was fantastic. But I removed the video because the person in the video, let's just say, was really hurting my mental health and, like, viciously. So I figured no more of that shit. So, yeah, it's a great video, but let me just put it like this. I need to stop making friends online. So,
I think you need to do a lot more than stop making friends online, bro. I think you need to stop making videos online. You are getting mollywopped. Because you can't handle your coat. And man, that's crazy. But you did it to yourself. Nobody hurt you to make you do these things. You did it to yourself. Why don't you just learn from your consequences? And stop being cringe. I think it'd be very useful to you. Don't you? Don't you think it'd be better for your mental health that you don't get dog walked by every single person that you come into contact with? I think it'd be better for your outcomes. Because I don't see how this helped me and you. Boo-boo, you are getting clowned in a way that is uncomfortable to watch. I can tell you that much. It is uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable watching what you have done. Log off.
what's gonna happen now is there's gonna be a lot less chat interaction. But I love music. I just really hate that I am like super mentally ill, and and anyone has access to the ability to talk to me. So here's what we're gonna do.
You should just stop streaming then, or stop doing content where you stream to an audience, and instead refocus all of your attention into the videos. Focus on the music. You want to fall back in love with what you used to do? Start there. Make it easy for yourself. Make it easy for yourself. It'll be smarter. It'll be better. It'll be cooler.
I'm gonna ask help from you guys. Financial help, like actual financial help right now. You can add super request things to the bottom. I can also link my PayPal. But right now, I need enough money to support my family, and basically, I need enough money to last about a month, right? So in total, maybe about 10 grand. With my family and moving and closing off leases, yeah. Like that's like the minimum, right? What I'm doing right now is I'm figuring out a system with, and again, I don't want to name any people who I'm working with in case, like, because again, like my name, people are just saying horrible shit. I'm working with good people, and we're basically going to be making everything a lot cleaner. The live stream, totally revamped, just visually, so it's gonna look a lot more professional. Chat is, I plan on not interacting with any chat because, honest to God, like, fuck that. I want to listen to music. I'm so fucking sick of anyone being able to talk to me. Like actually, just imagine that. Just imagine anyone in the world being able to say anything to you at any point, and you have to just sit there.
That's our job. Deal with it. Cope with your problems and get over yourself. How is that anyone's fault but yours? It's unreasonable levels of fucking cringe, bro.
There and accept that. Like, fuck that. So fuck that. Okay. I want to listen to music and I want to get paid so I can feed my family, so I can live a nice life, so I can make some friends. I mean, some wonderful people now who I care more about than any of this internet shit. Okay, so right now, let's focus on getting some music things done. I do need your help as a community. I do need financial help in order to make it. All right? So I am asking, but what I am offering you, okay? You see that intro video, that beautiful intro video? I want to make stuff like that. You know, things that are expressive, things that are fun, that are like, this is what I have to offer. Like, the best thing ever to me would be if someone could, like, pay me to make a video on a single song, and I could just spend the whole day filming and listening, like, trying to...
So why are you here on this recording, talking about it? Go do that. Or, keep doing the work that you're still doing, and then not that. Because, like, this is just pay me and fuck off, bro. Actually, no, it's worse than that. It's pay me, leave me the fuck alone, and let me be able to talk about my autistic cravings. Like, that's crazy. All this because you had all that happen to you? Damn, you bitch made. Damn, you bitch made. Damn, your coochie is so fat. Yo coochie is so big. The lips are so wide. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. The biggest coochie in existence. The biggest coochie in the world. He can't take criticism. He's mad as fuck online. Ridiculous. Ridiculous levels of cope.
Think of just ways I could record things of like stuff that this song inspires me from. Can you imagine if like I could just like branch out, but I was able to like financially do that in a way that doesn't require me to be in front of a bunch of strangers all the time?
Oh, there's an easy way that you could do that. It's called work in an office. You're clearly not a social person, and you clearly can't do your social media job. So get a real job. Get a, quote, real job. No longer make shit on the internet. Go get a real job. And with that real job, make real people money that's not dependent on your efforts as a creator who needs to look for inspiration and ideas. Go do all of that separate. Sit your ass down somewhere. Leave everybody else the fuck alone. And don't return to content creation. Because every single word out of your mouth has been cope, 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 cope. Cope!
Like, that's what I want to do, and I think that's going to result in me being the happiest and the healthiest, and you guys getting the best content, so, love you, thanks for listening, appreciate you, and hope you have a good rest of your day. Peace out.
You say you love them, but you basically tell them that you don't want to talk to them. You say you love them, but you don't want to talk to them. That's the worst thing you want. Fuck that! Real shit. Real shit, chat. Real shit. Real shit. This shit is real. This shit is real. It's real shit. This shit was real. It is real. It is real. It's really real. It's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy. And why do you need 10K for a month? That's a good question too. Why do you need 10K for a month? Oh, fuck. Oh, Lord. Hello, struggler. What's good? We've already covered 3 topics. We just finished with the 4th one. Let's move on that list. Back to Twitter. Back to Twitter. This one's great. Hassan getting cyberbullied. Let's go!
Try this shit out, Chicago style. Ask the lady at the counter, what's the best thing?
We allowed in here, y'all?
That same age.
You good?
What a fucking loser. Ask the lady at the counter, what is the best thing? Try this shit out.
The thing that's hilarious about this is that this is the kind of trolling that pisses him off maximally. And the reason why it pisses him off maximally is that his inability to even deal with that most general level of drive-by point and click, that he knows he can get recognized in public, but he acts like, bro, I'm just some guy, I'm just a guy doing news. Irritates the dog piss out of him. Why is this important, Carl? Oh, it's because it's something that just casually happens. As people might have been aware, Hassan has been trying to breach out into IRL content because he wants to be able to benefit off the ability to go somewhere else and talk to other people and do other things in other places. And while that's a reasonable desire to want to have, the problem that comes up with this is that Hassan's desire to reach out is not truly genuine. He is basically circling the drain when it comes to Twitch, because of course he is. Motherfuckers are cringe. So, motherfuckers being cringe, motherfuckers causing him to cringe of his own volition. He's trying to find ways to diversify his content. He wants to do IRL shit. But people doing IRL shit with him ain't really going over that well. He don't hit as hard. He don't hit as much. He hates it. He hates being involved in it. He hates being involved with other people. He wants to be disconnected from them and their issues and their problems. He wants to be able to gain the money without actually having to do extra work. And this has led to him basically getting to a cope cycle. Because when you do content different from what you usually do, sometimes the views can be lower. And the problem that comes with this is that you have to stick with it and basically say the views don't matter. What matters is me doing what it is that I want to do. So, in Brad Taste's position, when he says, I don't care about any of that. I just want to do work, and I want to be entertained, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. He's allowed to do that. There's no reason why he shouldn't be allowed to do that. Because what we want is for him to have fun, in his words, in his mind. If what you want is for Brad Taste or Hassan to be able to have fun playing video games, doing work, then they have to be afforded the opportunity to grow in that capacity by those regards. If they don't get the ability to do that, then realistically, how can they justify doing content? They shouldn't, because their content is horrible. But they should be allowed to be able to afford to do that. They should be able to argue for that. They should be able to have that. And there is a world where, as we don't care about them, I can understand why they might feel that way. But they ultimately still did all of that to themselves. Nobody told them to become the kind of content creators that they wanted to become. Nobody told them that's the thing that they had to seek out to do. Nobody. Ain't nobody told them that they had to do that. They chose to do that. They chose to go about that. They chose to communicate that way. They chose to behave that way. They chose these things. So, sympathy kind of goes out the fucking window. Because would you give sympathy to all the other people that you did this to? Hey, you don't like it? Let's use some words. The same things to Brad that we could say to you, Hassan, too. We could say to you as well, Hassan. Keep hating your life, working class Andy. It's just good. It's just Why stay? Because he wants to stay in the position. He doesn't want to do anything else but being a content creator, but he doesn't want to have to leave, because that means that he has to accept that he has no reason to be upset. He wants to pretend, basically. But you know what we can't pretend about? Acolyte getting canceled because dog shit, and then removed the merch because they don't even want to use these motherfuckers. Because they ain't buying the stuff. They ain't buying the shows. They ain't watching the shows. So why would they even sell you fucking merchandise, dude? Oh, Smilo Ren. Oh, how the women simped over you. Oh, it's so bad. Oh, it's so horrible. Oh, it's so great. Another one bites the dust. And of course, off the back of this, the cope. The pure, delicious cope. The cope, chat. The cope. For fun, I could dig through the topics, but we've already seen all the takes, because all of this blew up actually over the last 2 days. 2-3 days, I'd say. The Acolyte. What was it about? A show basically that's supposed to be featuring how a person can fall to the dark side. Twin story. Mandela. Her desperately trying to keep news and attention on herself. Keeping news and attention for herself. Because, hey, all these people, they treat me horribly. What the fuck should I do to care about your discourse? That horrible fucking crump dancing that she did. All that and more. To try and astroturf the story to be something they considered was more interesting than it was. Than it wasn't. Eventually, it became obvious once the show was concluded and they looked at the numbers. This was nothing more than what I originally called it when the first show came out. Which is that it was basically a lesbian dance theory. It was a show that existed to create lesbian fanfic. Bastardizes the idea of the lore further than normal, all with the intention of trying to nickel and dime and bait people to care because of hot men and Darth Plagueis the Wise. Because when they saw that leak, that particular trailer leak, or that particular detail leak, they're like, yeah, this show is important, but it wasn't. Still continuing to be dog shit. Now we have arrived at its cancellation. True. You mean shucking and jiving to play defense for nothing doesn't work? True. Fucking true. Me personally, because I usually watch these shows along with Jay, I feel bad sometimes for them. Rarely. Very, very rarely. I do not feel bad for the Acolyte. I do feel bad for actors in projects like Interview with the Vampire. Because a lot of them, they believe that this is a good trick. And I know what it's caused by. Those that are familiar know the concept and the idea of a media watchdog group. One of them that I hate with a passion is GLAAD. Because GLAAD is basically an anti-gay, gay protection media watchdog group that wants to harp out about media coverage and gay representation in media. But every single time you have gay representation in media, you get things like, hey guys, gay cruising, is it something that you should do? Let's talk about it. And much like any other thing that I can make a video on, I'm pretty sure that's one that's actually coming up on my timeline. You look at them and you ask yourself, why do you exist? Why are you the way you are? What makes you think that gay cruising is something you should promote in media? What makes you think that gay cruising is something you should promote in life? Why is that something that you want to insert into the media and work of Star Wars and shit like this? It doesn't need to have a second season, ultimately. It doesn't entertain. It more exists for the ego of the actress in question, who can't do any acting except when she's not on fucking camera. So why are we here? Why have merchandise for a show that clearly people didn't care about? You tried it, it didn't work. Pull that shit, and don't have a repeat of what happened with all those fucking figurines from the Star Wars sequels. You ain't gotta worry about you can't push the merchandise for all these characters you wanted to be popular that aren't. Just take the shit off the digital store. And that's what they did. Now, of course, you're gonna get scalpers that are now going to sell them at a high price. Just simply for those that wanted to fuck around and have a piece of media to say, haha, this existed. But you know, that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to me. It's okay with me. Because, of course, you've got things like Star Wars defenders fabricating death threats, getting caught, and then scrambling to delete all their posts after they were caught. And even while they tried doing this shit, it all eventually goes towards a place where you have to ask yourself, why bother? Because, ironically, switching gears again, another music guy in news, this time Anthony Fantano, getting sued for defamation. All of it kind of comes from the same place. For the Brad Taste article, for Acolyte, and for Anthony Fantano, the desire to get clicks and views online has put people in a position where they believe that they are having a 0% chance of getting called out for doing something stupid. And watching the shit happen in real time is just entertaining to watch. Because a lot of these L's, just like the quote you just heard from Brad Taste, not one topic ago, effectively comes down to, I should have the right to shit and attack and destroy things at a distance and not take accountability or be held to accountability for what I choose to involve myself in. But at the same time, I desire to say that I shouldn't be criticized. Of course, we all know the words I'm about to say. I have a fear of being perceived. Brad Taste hates people. He don't want to be perceived. Anthony Fantano, he's kind of been on a fucking downturn for a long bit. Because he's basically known as the musicator for no other reason than because he doesn't like pop music, or he doesn't like particular kinds of music that he doesn't want to jump onto. In media entertainment, people who hate content in general, are trying to get other people who are basically content watchers to jump onto news stories and to jump onto topics because they are not truly interested in the topic that they are discussing. They're more interested in talking about the people on the topics. Because if you go through the Star Wars threads, you'll find a bunch of people who are basically saying, "It was you chuds, you made me lose my show." But no, we didn't, because we weren't watching it. It wasn't for us! Remember? It wasn't for us, so we didn't watch it. But you didn't watch it either, so it's gone now! You can't even buy merchandise to pretend that you were a fan. I just find it hilarious, in my viewpoint. That's all I care about. That's the only thing that truly comes to my concern when I look into the topic of it, because there's no reason for it to be like that, other than it is. Goodbye. We will see you later, struggler. Hopefully when you come back for versus chat. But anyways. Rodney Radke files defamation lawsuit against music critic Anthony Vendetto. According to documents obtained by Rockfeed, following in reverse frontman Rodney Radke filing a defamation lawsuit against music critic Anthony Vendetto. The lawsuit, filed on August 20th in Los Angeles, centers on video Vendetto released in August 2023, titled "This Guy Sucks." Radke's attorney asserting that the video exceeds the bounds of permissible commentary and ventures into actionable innuendo, unfounded rumors, and outright falsehoods. Rodney Radke pursuing damages and requesting a jury trial, meaning he wants it to be seen and heard in front of an audience of intellectual peers. And considering that Anthony Vendetto is known for being a fucking music hater, I see this going very poorly for him. And this is what I mean when I say your videos are admissible in court. Getting to the point where you can't just talk shit about people because you don't like them. That actually gets defamation. And considering how Anthony Vendetto made his career, playing favorites, and then using political backstabbing, yeah, fuck him. Can't wait. Fuck him. Take everything. Take everything. Please. Take it away from him. Switching gears again. Be right back. Leave that up there. And go to the kitchen. Be right back. Jeez, I got it. Apple. Alright. From Tom Warden, senior editor at Verge. One of the many people who is not desired and liked right now because of that whole bullshit involving that one game story we already covered, which name I'm forgetting. Xbox chief, Phil Spencer, responds to a question about how Indiana Jones and PS5 connects back to how when this happens to other Xbox titles.
Going to the PlayStation announcement, obviously last spring, we launched 4 games, 2 of them on the Switch, 4 of them on PlayStation, and we said we're going to learn. We said we'd watch, and I think at Showcase I might have said from our learning we're going to do more. What I see when I look is our franchises are getting stronger.
our Xbox console players are as high this year as they've ever been.
Amazing.
So I look at it and I say, okay, our player numbers are going up for the console platform. Our franchises are as strong as they've ever been. And we run a business. Like, it's definitely true inside of Microsoft. The bar is high for us in terms of the delivery that we have to give back to the company, because we get a level of support from the company that's just amazing in what we're able to go do. So I look at this, how can we make our games as strong as possible? Our platform continues to grow, both on console, on PC, and on cloud. And I think it's just gonna be a strategy that works for us. And the last thing I'll probably say is I think as an industry right now, there's a lot of pressure on the industry. It's been growing for a long time, and now people are looking for ways to grow. And I think that us as fans, as players of games, we just have to anticipate there's going to be more change in how some of the traditional ways that games were built and distributed. That's going to change. That's going to change for all of us. But
that is Corpro speak for. We're going to nickel and dime you even further.
the end result has to be better games that more people can play. If we're not focused on that, I think we're focused on the wrong things. So for us, it's Xbox, health of Xbox, health of our platform, and our growing games, most important things.
That was a bunch of nothing. You're looking at the numbers of your sales. So your logic is to try and be late stage Sega. Which is to say, in the console war era, Sega removed themselves from the marketplace and focused on technology and development, as well as establishing franchises and standardizing their platform to that content delivery cycle. By doing so, they took one of their most popular older franchises from their Genesis days, Phantasy Star, and transformed it into a fucking powerhouse through Xbox Online and PC Online. For years, the brand of Phantasy Star grew, getting to the point that it got Phantasy Star 2. And while we were getting deprived of this in the West, they were raking in gangbusters for 8 years plus straight in the East, to the point where American players were joining PSU Fleet on Ship 2 via IDA as ARC layers to play the game in that region. But now, in perpetuity, what happens with game development and excuse me, change in the traditional way games are built and distributed, you launched a global server, finally, and within a year and a half, it died. People cared more about political diatribe than learning the emergency codes. And it went to shit. It now has less views, Steam charts. Thank you. It now has less players, less coverage, less views, and less love than could have ever been desired. Because you cared about pandering. And now you have a nice, safe, empty, dead game that can barely be able to keep a number above 2,000. On peak player percentages. You pissed away multiplayer franchises like this, all in the name of we're just looking at the industry. Because what did you pivot into? A bunch of shit, to be honest. But you pivoted the same way that Sony pivoted. Should I blame you, Phil Spencer? No. I blame the people who are a part of the authoritarian regime that did it. But this does not bode well Why don't you look back at the things that mattered? And why don't you change the industry for the better and have a strategy? Let's go to the comments. Call it hard sell. If their strategy is to go to late stage Sega instead of look at the original Xbox and 360 and remember what worked and why. The reason why Sony and Nintendo do so well is because they have exclusive, incredible games. I don't think that's the answer. If the Xbox takes it away from the console, the struggle to sell. Here's the factor that another day, that Anthony Day is not hitting. Well, what exclusivity are you getting Xbox games? It exists either as an exclusive or as a multi-platform. Why do you want people to be forced to have an Xbox? An Xbox is now a facility of Microsoft. Any game that's good on the PC should be good on the Xbox. You're running proprietary software with an extension on digital releases only for the argument of graphical fidelity. What do you mean they're good because you have exclusive games? I want to play games with my friends. I want to play games online. I don't want to be stuck in a single player environment with games that I weren't already getting because it was download day one in Game Pass. Not to mention, people not being able to own their physical games and copies because everything is digital unless they get the exclusive bundle that is sold to them not as a selling point but as a premium feature to have physical discs. So, they're spending more money on subscription services. Because they're spending more money on subscription services, you think it's an argument that they need to have exclusive digital games that they already still get day one on Game Pass that die off faster than Flintlock Siege at Dawn? Let's go to Flintlock. Let's look at Flintlock Siege at Dawn. Let's see if its numbers have improved any. Chat, let's find out. Oh, 20, 21, that's worse than I thought. No, please, no, oh no. Dead in the water. 21 people playing as of 20 minutes ago. A concurrent all-time peak of 541 with a 24-hour peak of 34 at times. Bro. That is juicy. I'm not talking about just the apple. Oh boy. They'll walk it off. Don't worry, Chad. They'll walk it off. Lord have mercy. Lord have mercy. Christ have mercy. Yeah. They take away the exclusive incredible games and the console will struggle. Yeah, I don't think that's the problem. I don't think exclusive games on the digital platform is the model. I don't think that's the reason. I think in order for them to be able to make a profit, they kind of have to have good games to start with, don't you think? But hey, maybe South by Midnight will make a return. Yeah. Copium, chat. Hopium. Keep moving. Nothing to nothing. Should follow Sega's example and be transparent and direct and prevent people from buying a console that is destined to die. I can agree with that. Let's dig further. 40% free fall in console sales. If you think this is healthy, then that's okay. Because somebody tries to do the fucking shit posting thing. It's as if the whole Xbox platform is 100% dependent on consoles like PlayStation is. Oh wait, the point is that the console is destined to die, not Xbox by a whole. This post comes from an account that no longer exists. They finally got a chance to compete with Sony, only to go third party. All that's waiting and is hoping the Xbox gamers have had this past disc 8 just fucking wasted. Boots up Xbox. Has fun. I don't think the problem is an argument of who's having more fun than the others and who's having less fun than the others. I think the problem is that you have a platform that is destined to die because all the games are digital. If all of the games on the platform are digital, or rather, turn the argument sideways. If the intention is to try to sell as the mass spread copy to people, is that the games on your console will be cheaper by buying digitally, and it's considered a premium exclusive deal to get a deluxe edition that allows you to have an actual disc drive, assuming the argument that by having the digital disc, things will be made better and not worse, how does this help people make better business decisions about their choices for the games that they choose to be involved in and play? How does this help them? When does this help them? Is it going to make the game better magically over time? I hope that's not an argument that somebody's had, because I don't see how it helps them. It doesn't help consumers. I pay money for a game and a system that has digital only, or a preference on for cheapness being digital only. And then any of those games that are in my collection, I don't get to have forever. My console becomes basically a wasted brick. How does that help me? How does that help you? That seems like my money's getting stolen. That's at least my opinion. If my money's getting stolen like that, then I'm allowing someone to fuck me on purpose. How is that a good business decision that people should be interested in wanting to take up and do? How does that help them? That's ultimately the problem. I find it crazy that there's somebody who's going to argue that as though that's a null hypothesis that can actually be discussed like it's not happening. But you know, people, places, reasons, things. Let's move on to the next story. Capcom remove the male and female armor. Now both genders can wear whatever armor they want. I'm not going to pretend that I'm a Monster Hunter fan, but I'm curious to know how you Monster Buffs feel about this. What this actually extends to, doesn't know where you think it goes. But I'm going to work from here. I'm going to do this story from this position. I'm going to work it into where it's going. Monster Hunter Wilds. It's going to be the new flagship title. I'd like to play it on launch. Probably won't have the money to. A change like this amounts to and means nothing to me, as well as most people. I do not care. And the reason I do not care is because that's not meaningful. Why would I care about being able to equip different kinds of armor while not being male or female? That doesn't interest me. Why would it? I don't know if there's many people in the chat that have an opinion about it. But in terms of my opinion, I care infinitely less about this. Because I don't see how it's something that could be considered important. I might be different, but that's just my opinion. Can I destroy these all the time? Survey says no. But then the story moves. Mike Keefe. You might remember him from other controversies dealing with news shit. Yesterday was hilarious, bro. Grumps would play his typical ignorance, but this time was towards the Monster Hunter community. An entire Monster Hunter player base roasted him to oblivion. So people are fine with the gatekeeping now. I'm gonna throw this question to you, chat. Now that you guys have seen me do plenty of coverage, covering the dumb talking points and takes that come from both the followers as well as from the attention-seeking arguments of Brutus Rambo and Mark Kern as they've continued their gaming grift. What do you think of shit like this in its totality? How people behave, how people act, how the stories get covered. What's your opinion? What's your takes? Because I, of course, have opinions of my own, of which I've expressed multiple times. Because on the news story, because of course, the way that it happened is that because there was something to do with something that could be considered, quote, propaganda and gay stuff. The argument was, look, they're transing your game, which is obviously retarded on itself. But then moved to, people should be on my side, and here's why. What is your viewpoints and opinions on this never-ending kerfuffle made about this shit from people like them? Sometimes gatekeeping is justified. Yes, sir. Nothing burger stories. I agree. Do I not have the right things for this? Normal. I have to use a different character. I don't understand why it's not letting me use it. Jesus Christ.
저 벌거스가 마지막 퓨즈를 가져. 서둘러.
Jesus Christ. He needs his levels quickly. Stay at the gate. I don't want you wanting to use here. Go away. True. Now, let's go through this thread. You're right, and people are mad that you're right. Because they interpret gatekeeping is bad in their head because their culture were poisoned. This is exactly why gatekeeping is important. Why everyone seeks to change things, be toxic, or unaccepted. Now, fuck bums. He's starting fights inside the Venom to sate his hunger for attention. Fighting toxic griffers co-opting spaces they're a part of isn't gatekeeping or even close. Grums and bullshit artists like him aren't interested in gaming at all. Just the money that comes out of bigots who constantly start shit to stay relevant. Which is true. The same argument could be made of Mighty Keith, who likes getting ad revenue from being involved in shit. I'm gonna need to do a research thing to break down his involvement, particularly, because this is the 4th time I've seen Chief Keith on a story. Telling someone they don't know shit about the series is not gatekeeping, it's stating they don't know shit about the series. That response. It's as if I saw the same thing happen with Stellar Blade when people were shitting on it and calling it Gooner bait, and saying the main character is boring and forgettable without even playing it. Game, Grums was one of the ones mentally trying the idea that it should and being Gooner and literally has everything to do with the game. He doesn't know shit and neither do you. Still saw those same comments people shout on Grums and still shout on Stellar Blade. Still calling it a Gooner game. Because it is all they cared about. Look at how fucking mad they got the second they thought it was censored. Don't freaking tell me all they cared and actually love the game character model. Notice how they don't talk about it now. It's on to the next script. What's your stance on mod removing such as small things as pronouns and LGBT flags in games? Not sure that that's related, but shitty. Only reason it's being done is because a hate-filled weirdo. So double standard on censorship of small things is actually okay. Noted. You know that Stellar Blade wasn't actually censored, right? The costumes were unfinished. Also, anyways, yes, racists and homophobes can fuck off. I don't care if they get upset about they're not allowed to be racist and homophobic. Hope that helps. Since they unreleased those unfinished audits later, it was in fact censored, amongst other things. But I actually don't care. I just wanted to check. Please enjoy Valorant and Dustborn. The game directors themselves confirmed that otherwise, and there's far more hunting efforts in the game. And the game that it was uncensored is fucking stupid and all cancelled. And it was so censored, and so many more of the outfits would have been altered, it was unfinished. That's just how games work these days. I'm slurring my words. It's not the chewing. I have an opinion. I think if you start here with someone claiming they're telling you about something that they don't know shit about is not gatekeeping, and they're addressing how you guys acted in another situation, already also covered on the first part of the content, and then you start moving to the idea of here's a person spreading the concept and doing these things, then it is clear that there is a group of people that believe that gatekeeping, from the viewpoint of people like Mighty Keith, is acceptable as long as they get to do the exact same thing that has actually been done with anime. I see that you have appropriated the Put It Back Thief meme. That doesn't belong to you. But then, as the thread moves down, we get to the point of what usually happens, which is people making up bullshit about how this is justified when it is things that they don't like, and then pivoting to, well, shitty people shouldn't be allowed to do things. So, from here, Stefan Fremel's just being a hypocrite. If it's a thing that is small, like, you know, pronoun and LGBT flags in games, you do understand that mod sites making political statements to remove things, you know, the Actman situation is a case example of you being a hypocrite. There no upper thought line, no proper understanding, no thoughts whatsoever. Empty in head. Because Trodosky is correct. It's a small thing. Because, hey, it doesn't personally affect you, why do you care? It's their game, right? They can do what they want in their game. That's what this story extends from. Them giving opinions that effectively came from viewpoints about layered armor that doesn't matter. Something that is not material to the game experience. That shouldn't at all be trivial to you. It's the same shit. What do I care if I choose to wear the female and male armor? It doesn't matter. Is there still an A type and a B type for the design of the armor? How many pieces of armor do I actually need to farm per monster while attacking large and small monsters? Does this actually affect things, or are you super focused on some specifically finite detail that actually avoids the bigger topic? What Tradowski just did was put you into a lock state where they demonstrated that you're a hypocrite. And then you doubled down on your hypocrisy. No, the outfits were censored. The entire reason people were annoyed about the problem of Stellar Blade was that the censorship was clear and obvious. They said, I will get no censorship. Game got censored. Then, game was given a stealth patch. And the CEO had to wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey guys, if you don't download the patch, then they won't be censored. Do you think that people would buy the game if they were told one thing would happen, and then another thing happened, and then afterwards you say, but that's all you could make? Okay, cool, so you should have no problem with me wanting to turn off the entire questline that has to do with Dame Lend, right? I should be allowed to turn off her dialogue in the cringy part where she forcefully tells me, for no other reason than humor and characterism through the alienation of the writing from Larian, in the base game. Not a DLC, not a mod, didn't say make her ugly, just make her not talk. With her insisting that I need to know that she's gonna go fuck Isabel behind a door. Where even Isabel, her character, says, oh my god, too much information. You believe that racists and homophobes should fuck off when you're in their face about annoying ass shit. Is that right? That's crazy. That's crazy. Crazy argument. But there's more. But there's more. It's looking through. General agreement, general agreement, general agreement. General agreement, general agreement. General agreement, general agreement. General agreement. Person misquoting the horrible paradox of intolerance because they're fucking retarded. They're reposting the memes. Let's dig through Keeps now. I know you're embarrassed, Grums, but trying to lie on me and Paul Tassi is desperate, bro. None of these screenshots say what you claim. You just made the story up. The new NBC marching orders have come out. Woke, definitely not racist DEI journalist Paul Tassi and woke grifter Mighty Keith are now being actually racist by calling out Black Myth Wukong because he's proper in Chinese. Does China not count as real gamers? I don't care about this. This is meaningless. This is you doing Signifier. This is you sitting there in the distance saying, it's over when the algorithm says it's over. Let's see if you have anything else to say. It also happened when we tried to come for Final Fantasy XIV. They folded Grumps' clothes and him still in them. Again, this is you guys mocking the idea of, oh my god, I can't believe this happened. You and him are part of the same problem, Chief. You only care when it's a problem that you personally are affected by or that you believe you should have the right to have an opinion about. And I don't think that's smart. Because it doesn't fucking help. Whatsoever. It doesn't help people for the topic of understanding the problem. It doesn't get to the bottom of the problem of what people are really annoyed about. I think I will go look at that from my mutual. 1 second. Should be here on the timeline. You can't see what's on my page because I'm scrolling past a lot of porn. There we go. Found it. From Tina. Every single game I've been interested in April, these two idiots have been giving the absolute worst takes on discourse, and people turn them into screaming DEI, SBI bullshit like fucking seagulls, screaming mine, 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 and it's beyond annoying at this point. Because bait posting works at making angry people angry. Two dumbasses who don't know who Lunastra was, why did they do this to Monster Hunter? Can they both fuck off? They invade the discourse of every single game I like and add nothing positive, and I'm tired of the bullshit grifting. All of us are. This is the truth of the matter. I'm tired of every single time I go onto Twitter and I go looking for gamer news or I go looking for gaming journalism news and I keep finding takes from Learning the Lawyer, from Cabritas Rambo, and from Grums. But the problem is that because I work in the position of needing to report on the news, I cannot just simply ignore the dumb shit that they're fucking saying. Because the dumb shit that they're fucking saying is not actually helping people whatsoever. They're not adding positivity. They're not adding things that are new, that are interesting to talk about, or fostering a conversation. They're just taking up money. They are just taking up name for themselves. They're just taking up space for themselves. And they're enriching themselves through outrage monetization. And then they go onto panels and they stoke the fires of that animosity, meaning the topic can never be anything other than what they want to be angry about or annoyed about. In Curtis Rambo's case, he uses his victimhood to create a business for himself and then continues the harassment that he was victimized for by harassing others. In Mark Kern's case, he particularly wants to keep the topic centered on him and clings to his former dev status, hoping nobody brings up how he still has yet to turn in a game for M-Raid, or how he wasted money and funds promoting his other games. Regardless of what you might think about it, this is where I take my umbrage. I would like them to stop. I would like them to actually sit down with people who do the news stories and actually talk at length about serious shit. Because what do they actually believe in? Do you have policies? Do you have standards? Can you be convinced to understand why this particular tactic is not good? Can you be bothered to, if you look into a news story, say to yourself, bro, I have an opinion, but I don't know enough to be able to speak on this intellectually, and leave it there? Why do you feel the need to put your name into every goddamn thing possible when you know you don't have anything to say? I'm tired of it. My mutuals are tired of it. And considering how long we've all been on top of the topics, as we have been for the years that we've been just posting as normal users, no money or money or no money, why is it that this is so hard for people to get? Now, outrage marketing as it is, can't do anything about that. Chief Keef, he ain't gonna change his attitude. He's gonna be the exact same person he can be. But I don't have to fucking fall into debate. But I can't show you what they're saying. Because this is actually important. This is where community breathes and lives and dies. This matters. Because if all they ever see and hear from is Grums and Cabrera Serrano and everyone else, this is how the gaming is toxic, gamers are bad, shit happens. And continues. You have to denounce it. Say, they're not like us. We don't fuck with them. We're not affiliated. They're not affiliated, and they don't want to be affiliated. Or we disallow them from being affiliated. We block them from affiliation. That's all the news I have for you today, at least. That being said, I hope today's been entertaining. I hope it's been having fun and extremeful. And versus chat, 6 p.m. tonight. Be there or be square. Or just check into the VOD. I'm going to be doing an editing style where I'm going to start going through the daily news and cutting out the segments from each story and how they're relevant. I'm going to do the same thing to the versus chats. So, I'm going to work on that at the end of the news cycle this week. I think I'd start doing it Friday, because today's Tuesday, so tomorrow, yes. And then we'll see what we will do with the extra time on Saturday, as well as Sunday. Have a good day, everyone. I'm going to see y'all in the Jeep seats. Goodbye. 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 Do the algorithmically promotive things, like, subscribe, share, tweet out, etc., 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 etc. I'm leaving. Bye, switch. Goodbye.